In our first version after the release of LTS, we have a surprisingly exciting release in version 2022.11, which leaves me overall finding it hard to want to use LTS in favor of all these new goodies. First, I want to talk about the huge number of new array functions. These let us do a lot of common tasks with arrays much more easily, further cementing structs and arrays as the go-tos for handling data in GameMaker, and further obsoleting many of the prior use cases for things like ds-list. Basically, there's a ton of tools here that let you iterate, search, and manipulate arrays in ways you could largely technically already do, but now a whole lot more conveniently and sustainably. Next up, there is a small but very feedback-driven change to the way copying and pasting works in the image editor. That's right, we now have the option to change something many a GameMaker user hates, which is the paste as brush feature of the image editor. You can instead have images pasted from the clipboard appear as a new layer instead of as a brush. This is also the default for new installations. While this is cool, bringing paste behavior more in line with what you expect and meaning you don't have to waddle your mouse around to place a pasted image exactly right, with this turned on, pressing Ctrl-C no longer seems to create a brush from your selection either, and there doesn't appear to be any other way to do this. So by using this, be aware that you currently lose any capability to make a custom brush. This sucks for me. I very often make a 2x2 white brush, for example, given that one is weirdly missing. Russell did say something will be put in the backlog to add custom brush creation to a separate key binding. I hope that comes soon, as I'm kind of torn over which setting I want to use by default. Overall, I feel like paste as brush is more flexible, given I can make a new layer and paste with a brush anyway, it's just marginally more awkward. Whereas with paste as layer, I lose an entire piece of functionality, each to their own. You can now select which runtime modules / platforms you want to install when you get an update. On logging into this new build for the first time, you'll see something like this, asking you which ones you actually want to download. This can save you some file space, download and install time. For me, I just kind of stick to grabbing everything, but it is a nice option to have. Arrays are not the only thing to get a big upgrade. A huge improvement has been made to the string function, which lets you place variables inside one string call, where normally you would have to change string calls together to join text in this way. You can also call string ext to pass an array rather than separate arguments. This will help enormously with making simple dialogue systems. It actually makes me want to make tutorials for this kind of thing again. It also appears that show debug message has been given the same functionality, which will save a lot of time with debugging. I've already been using a concatenation function to do this kind of thing more easily, and having a native option is super nice. Not only that, but we also have a huge slew of new string functions. You can split strings, join strings, run a custom function on every character in a string, and much more. Similar to arrays, we've had a huge expansion of functionality here, and I love to see it. Now everyone has wanted this next change for a million years, and now those years have passed and we can now apply audio effects. Reverb, delay, bit crusher, high and low pass filters, and gain are the starter pack of effects we get. It's super easy to add an effect on top of all sounds by adding it to the main bus, which can be good for going underwater in your game, for example. Adding it to specific sounds is a little more involved, and we need to work with a new system referred to as audio buses. You can kind of think of these as audio mixers, and by creating a separate bus with its own audio emitters, you can apply effects specifically to the audio in that bus. You'll have to read the docs for more right now, but it's great to finally have this hole in GM's functionality start to get filled in. There is a whole bunch of other stuff in this release, including some new room editor effects, so be sure to read the release notes. But those are some of the biggest highlights in 2022.11. If I missed anything you think is important though, feel free to highlight it in the comments. Cheers everyone, I'll catch you all next time.